All right, hello again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and we've been going over the online PDF version of AppInventor2, Create Your Own Android Apps by Wolber, Abelson, Spurtis, and Looney. And I'm in Chapter 7, Android Where's My Car? And I've gone back and you can see I've pretty much completed now the interface. Okay? And not only did I complete the interface, but as we were asked to do in here, I went back, set the text property to those labels, set the text for the dynamic GPS to 0.0, the text for the addresses to unknown. I unchecked the enable property for the two buttons, and I unchecked the screen.scrollable. Actually, that already was unchecked. So these are the behaviors that we'll need. So we'll have 4 blocks. The first one, as it says, when the location sensor gets a reading, place the current location data into the appropriate labels of the user interface. This will let the user know that the sensor has read a location and is ready to remember it. Then after that, we will set it up so when the user clicks the remember button, we'll copy the current location data into the labels for the remembered location. We also need to store the remembered location data so that it'll be there if the user closes and relaunches the app. So if they would turn their phone off after they've already, basically say where they parked. Next, when the user clicks the directions button, we'll have to launch Google Maps in the web viewer so it shows the directions to the remembered location. And finally, when the app is relaunched, we want to load the remembered location from the database into the app. So first, again, displaying the current location. As it says, the location sensor has a location changed event that occurs not just when the device's location changes, but when the sensor first gets a reading. And it may take some time. It may be a little funky because GPS, basically those satellites can get blocked. If you were to go into a tunnel or into a building that's a concrete building or whatever, there's things that can happen. There'll be more on the GPS and on the location sensor when we get to Chapter 23. It says when you do get a location reading, your app should place the data into the appropriate labels. The blocks that we'll need to do this are shown right here on the bottom of page 117 and the top of 118. So what we're going to do is we're going to build this block first. And as it says, this block illustrates the latitude and longitude, those parameters of the location changed event. It says you can grab references to event parameters by mousing over them. Current address is not an argument, rather it's a property of the location sensor. So we can grab that from the location sensor's drawer. So we're going to build this in just a minute. The event handler, or this event handler, also enables the remember button. So we want to do all this stuff. So we want when the location one dot location changed. So we're going to go over to our blocks editor, go to our location sensor, and when the location changed. Okay. Do we have latitude, longitude, and altitude? Yes, we do. There's even a speed in there, and we're not going to use that, I guess. But so we want 3 different sets here. First, we want to set the current address label text to the location sensor dot current address. So let's set the current address data label text. And we want to set that to the location 1 or location sensor 1 current address. Okay. Next, we want to set the current lat label text to get latitude. current lat label. There it is. We want to set the text to get latitude. And let's take this block and duplicate it and put it right below. We'll change the lat here to the the current lon label text, and we'll set that to get longitude. I believe that that's correct. Yes. Then we want to set our remembered button enabled to true. So we want to turn that button on, for lack of better words. And again, that is our remember button. So I believe that's everything that we want to do in here. Okay. So again, we came through here, we set the current address data label to our current address, we set the current latitude label where we get the latitude, the current longitude label to where we get the longitude, and we enabled our button. So in other words, we're going to be filling up this area in here and here. The address and the latitude and the longitude. That's what we're going to be doing there. If to test this as it says, you'll probably want to walk around to test the app. Well, not with what I'm doing. So I'm going to take for granted, for now at least, that it's going to work. So to record the current location as it says, when the user clicks the remember button, the most current location data should be placed into the labels for displaying the remembered data. So they're shown right there. I'm not going to go over those, but as it says, when the user clicks the remembered button, the current readings for the location sensor are inserted into the remembered labels, as shown right here. All right, so again, we want to set up the code for when our remember button is clicked. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to grab all that location sensor information and copy it into the associated remembered stuff. So we want to come in here, go back to our blocks editor, and let's move this over. And we want to go to our remember button. So again, when clicked, and we want to start by setting our remembered address data label text and we want to set that equal to our location sensor current address. Next, we want to set our lat label text to our location sensor latitude. And I'm going to copy or duplicate this and then change this from lat label to remembered lon label and set this from latitude to longitude. Okay. And finally, we have to enable our directions button. believe we want to set that to true. Yes, we did. Oops. So there's 4 actions in here. Okay? And if we go back and we look right here, again, it says you'll notice that the directions button is enabled. This could become tricky because if the user clicks the directions button immediately, the remembered location will be the same as the current location, but it's probably not going to happen. All right. I should mention too, I haven't been saying this, but notice here they've got some comments. In fact, I'm going to grab this, what they have here, and just copy it. It says here, put the current address in the remember labels of the UI and also remember this, remember this data in the database so it will be there when the app is reopened. All right, I'm copied all that to the clipboard, but what I wanted to show you was if I go back to here and I right mouse click, I can click add comment and I can put a comment in there. Okay, and I think I can, there we go. All right, so now we've got a comment associated with that. Okay, did we have to do that? Of course not, but you know, we could. All right, so we can remove the comment then. I'm going to, for now, collapse the whole block and just put it over here. Let's collapse both of these. All right. And we're at 12 minutes, so let's just very quickly run back over to here. Next, we'll be displaying the directions to the remembered location. As it says, when the user clicks the directions button, you want the app to open Google Maps and then display the directions from the user's current location to the remembered location. In other words, where they park their car. The web viewer component can display any web page, including Google Maps. You'll call the webviewer.goToURL to open the map, but you want to open a URL that will show directions from the current location to the remembered location. One way of doing that, as it says, is a URL with this kind of format. All right. And what it has here is, I believe, like this is the start and this is the ending or whatever. Okay. So for this app, as it says, you will need to build the URL and set its source address, the SADDR, and its destination, that's what the D was for, DADDR, parameters dynamically in blocks. You'll put text together. We've done this before, is what they're saying, using the joins. All right. So we'll build the URL together, putting all this stuff in there. All right, let's come back and then we'll talk about how these blocks work, and then we'll build this next block in the next iteration of this video.